911, what are you reporting?
We got someone or something crawling around out here.
Did you see what it was?
I can't tell. All I know is that my central light came on and I just happened to glimpse and see this thing running across the yard. A good-sized man or something that looks like a man. I don't know what it was. Just it ran across the yard.
It seems to be a Bigfoot leaning against a tree in a wooded area.
I have seen plenty of people with big feet, but not Bigfoot.
Tree lines and brush, he sees about a 7 and 7.5 foot tall Sasquatch looking back at him.
Kind of looks like a wolf, but not like a neighborhood dog.
Take these stories for what they are in hopes that maybe if it's out there, then show me.
Yeah.
And says he might have caught the mythical chupacabra creature terrorizing his chickens.
It's like a grunt and a knock. It's like a...
I think there's kind of a cultural tendency for people to want to make Bigfoot a quote-unquote monster.
Welcome to ECBRO Bigfoot Radio.
Hey guys, Daniel Benoit here, founder of the ECBRO, the East Coast Bigfoot Researchers Organization. And I'm going to tell you what, ECBRO Bigfoot Radio has teamed up with Media Squatch. And we're very proud and happy to be a part of that network. Media Squatch is located out of Bedford, Virginia. And also, I'm here to tell you about something a lot more exciting. If you're looking to expand your Bigfoot, Sasquatch merchandise, your gear, your clothing, check out squatchtrail.com. That's right, Squatch Trail merchandise is your destination for your, for your gear, everything for you to get to build up your inventory. I encourage you to check out squatchtrail.com. It's the place that you want to shop.
All right, guys, we're officially here now. So welcome, everybody. We got a fairly decent amount of viewers according to the numbers. We got people on the chat already chatting away. Real quick, guys, before we go any further, I want to introduce you, which I've introduced some books in the past, but this is the newest book that's been released. It's published. The author, Mr. Kenny Irish. On Facebook, you may know him as Kenny Irish or Kenny the crypto-punkologist. This book right here, it's based off of, it's called American Monster Hunters. It's this book based off of Bigfoot and cryptid researchers. There is I'll name, let's see, hopefully it's not too many to name off here, but you know what? I might need my glasses on this one here. Hold on. Yeah, because I'm going blind. I'm getting old, so yeah, I need my reading glasses. So, so we're starting from chapter 1. There's a chapter on Ken Gerhard. Chapter 2, Paul Bartholomew, Steve Coles, Lyle Blackburn. Oh, chapter 5, Daniel Benoit. Never heard of him. Cliff Brackman. Yeah. Chad Lewis, Adam Davies, Barton Nunley, David Weatherly. And this name, I know this name so well. I know who the guy is, but I'm going to probably butcher his name trying to pronounce it. Alexander Petticoat. I don't know. I don't know. I've seen him on documentaries and everything else. Todd Neese. Josh Turner, Lauren Coleman, and again, this is by Kenny Irish. There is an introduction for those who know Mr. Ronald Murphy. I think Ronald is based out of, I could be wrong, I want to say Kentucky or Tennessee, one of the surrounding states, somewhere around there. But it's pretty good. The only part I read was the chapter about me. I wanted to see how it came out. So, yeah, that was cool.
Were you surprised?
Well, no, I knew I was going to be in there because he sent me all the questions that he wanted me to respond to, and then plus he added my bio in there. So I knew I was going to be in there. So.
No, I was talking about, were you surprised by what you read about yourself?
Oh yeah, I didn't know I did that or seen that or yeah. No, I'm just joking.
was it just a paragraph or was it several pages to it?
Oh yeah, my chapter starts from page 57 up to 68, so there's a few pages on it. So, yeah.
Five.
So yeah, so yeah, that was pretty cool. There's another gentleman who did something. I believe he did something along the similar lines. I'm not going to try to remember his name, but he on Facebook and even on Instagram, he goes by the Bigfoot. What is it? The Bigfoot influencer. I think that was part of the name of his book as well. Bigfoot Influencers is a book as well, where it talks about various people behind the research and all that good stuff. So, yeah. So yeah, enough of that. Like I told, for those who tuned in last night, if you're here again, looks like there's actually a couple different ones on here that I'm not recognizing. TWT. Oh, thank you for subscribing. Yeah, Robert Dendoven, I know him, and Sasquatch Secrets. For those who don't know, yes, that's Nikki. She's on the chat too. So, yeah, so.
Henry May on here, and we'll have the old thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't. How is Henry, by the way?
He's good. He's good.
Yeah.
He's still doing his shows, and occasionally he'll come on my show. But
okay. Yeah, last time I've ever seen anything from him is like, he'll react to something I post on occasions, but that's about it. I haven't spoke to him in a long time. Yeah, because back when we used to be on Looking for Bigfoot News Hour podcast, and with what's the kid's name?
Sean.
Remember? Was it Sean?
It was Sean, wasn't it? It was.
No, I don't think it was. Shane. Yeah, I had to think for a second. I think, well, maybe it's someone close to Sean, but yeah, Shane Bradbury. Yeah. Yeah. You know why he stopped doing that altogether? If I recall correctly, I think he met a girl, and he met a girl. I think that was a big part of it, and he didn't want. I guess he didn't want no connection to fall back, hey, I'm involved with Bigfoot podcast. I'm gonna leave this alone so I can be with this girl. Basically, I think is what happened. So, yeah. Let's see. Who else we got here? I'm just looking over the live chat. For those who are on the live chat, what are the questions? If you have any questions whatsoever, don't hesitate to throw them out there. I'll read off the question, and we'll try our best to address it and go from there. But since we are just getting into this, I haven't really dealt with Nikki in a long time. She's been busy with her own podcast, and I'm sure some of you guys are followers and subscribers to her. So yeah, I want to welcome you guys here. Awesome to have you. But like I told Nikki earlier, I'm going to probably put her. I'm going to put her on the spot. I just want to ask her if she could kind of fill us in. What's the latest gossip or what she's been digging into lately? So how about Nikki?
Newest thing. It's the way the Bigfoot community comes around. It's a big revolving circle. So a lot of old hoaxes and a lot of old photos, videos get pulled back into the community with a whole new storyline, with a whole new place that it happened at. So it happens all the time, and I just try to tell them, nope, that's not what that is. That is our favorite Sonny Bader at it again. He's constantly having out there of that blue looking Sasquatch he has. And the same ones come up over and over again, Mark Anders and a bunch of others. And it's just about I try to let them know, hey, nope, that's not what that is. And I have documents to prove that. I'm just like the Mission BC Bigfoot. That one that happened where it's a far off view and it kind of looks like this Sasquatch is stepping off of a log far off, and people just have love that video, but it's not a Sasquatch. I'm sad to say it's Brandon Pollock was out there gathering firewood, and we know that because he said that was him. He confirmed it was him. He confirmed where his boat was in regards to that area. And our own Thomas Steenberg, if those of you who are out there who don't know who Thomas Steenberg are, he is a great archivist researcher up in BC, Canada, and he tracked it down. He tracked the guy down and got the full statement and proved that that was a guy, not a Sasquatch. So
Right.
That constantly comes up. And our own Rick Dyer is back at it again.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I interviewed Rick. I was one of the first to interview Rick Dyer about his hoaxes, and had him on the year after that. But he swore he was done. He was done with the Bigfoot stuff, this and that. And then TikTok came along, and he started up again talking about all his nonsense. And about a week ago, I think now, he says that he got his team tracker back in full swing, and he's already caught Bigfoot on a trail cam.
Oh my. Wow.
That's going to be something that we're going to have to keep an eye out for here in the near future, is that he made several, let's say, interesting comments trying to make it seem like they caught it.
Right.
He has another Bigfoot. And
yeah,
go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to say, but what's going to hurt him and this goes for anybody that likes to pull fast one and hoax, the hoax people. There might be an opportunity or a time where you might actually capture the real deal. But if you try to go to show for people, if you develop a history of hoaxing, it's like crying wolf. Who's going to believe you?
Right.
Which, that's the way I look at it. I mean, what if he does capture the real deal? And for those who do know him, like us, because he's been hoaxing since 2008. 2008 up to 2012, and then of course back in around 2014 or more. Yeah,
things going on in between and throughout that. But he's confessed to all that. Of course, he says he really had a Bigfoot, but it was taken by the Men in Black. Okay. And so what they did was, put that costume in the freezer and froze it. And that's how that all happened. But he says there really was one. We found one at the, on the side of the creek there. And he says that pretty much about all of his hoaxes, though. But behind the scenes, behind my original interview with him, after it was over and we were in the back, he confessed that it was all bullshit. He told us everything was bullshit and that he can get anybody, to believe him.
Yeah.
I made 80 grand on that first hoax. He made over 160,000 on the second hoax. And it's business. And if you're willing to pay people,
oh yeah,
that's your hard-earned money. I wouldn't really be giving that to something like that. But
that one of the things you talked about, like a lot of these, we've been familiar with, we've seen them on and off over the years. To name one or two, one of the ones I see repeating and come around again is the Beacon Bigfoot. Yeah.
Yeah.
That showed up today in my newsfeed from a group that was posted, and somebody shared this, and I simply commented, That's
Yeah.
from a movie. That's not real. That's all costume, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, what movie? Then I shared them, a couple of my old screenshots of the one was from an article with the pictures. And then, I showed them some other stuff. And they're like, oh, okay. The people that saw that, like, oh, well, thank you for sharing this, But,
Yeah.
there was something else too. Maybe it'll come to me in a little bit, but there was another thing that was posted or I seen resurfaced.
Yeah, there are a bunch of things that come back around and everything. I took a deep dive into that Beacon Bigfoot hoax and found out that it was Ron English who actually did that film. And it was just a student film for his son. And they did with the family of Bigfoot, of stuffed Bigfoots. Okay, they were all fake. And they just posed them out there in the wilderness and took a bunch of shots. And now people think there's a baby Bigfoot on a mama's back,
Right.
And I have pictures of it,
No, me too.
Display, at one of his expos because he's a pop artist in New York and he has them out on display. So
yeah.
But people don't want to believe that. No, that's a baby. That's a little baby. Yeah, nope.
Yeah, that reminds me. Well, you said you see, he's got pictures of them in display cases. Well, there's other images of all the Bigfoot characters used in those images or film are also, there's scenes of them in like a building, office or like a studio area kind of, people need to see that too. But talk about a Bigfoot with a baby. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
There'll still be people who won't believe it. Oh, that looks different, or that's not right, and I'm like, no, that's the same one. That's the same thing. He's got the whole family, mom, dad, the juvenile that everybody calls Chaka when and then there's another with the mom and the baby on the back,
Yeah.
So crazy.
Well, talk about what was it? Was it the Independence Day or whatever? That one little video clip they showed what appears to be a Bigfoot running with its baby in its arms from behind the rock.
Yep.
Yeah, that's another one. I see that one popping up a lot lately too, and I just more.
I was just gonna say that one got recent traction because of Thinker Thunker, and he's starting to say that whole thing is real. So.
Oh, was he saying that was real?
Yeah.
This is just my quick 2 cents on that one. I mean, I've watched that video clip numerous times, but to me, there's a red flag, and that red flag to me is okay. First of all, maybe that Bigfoot was trying to hide and panic and decided I'm going to get up and run. To me, it was like a movie scene, like action. Okay, now it's my time to be seen. Let's go run and show myself off. That's what I get from that. That's the vibe I get from that. So,
if you really look at the film, you can see the camera lead off before the Bigfoot even starts to run.
Right.
Kind of indicates that. And somebody brought it to my attention that they can see the Velcro right here on the front of the Bigfoot where the hand is supposed to be for the baby.
Right.
And it does. It looks like a strip of Velcro right here on the front. And there's a bunch of stuff that are red flags about that thing.
Yeah, that one there. I mean, as far as picking, I don't know, to pick that up, it's blurry. It's kind of blurry for me to really notice all that. So I don't know. That's interesting that somebody was able to, on their own, pick that out. I don't know. But interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's see what TWT. I've had trail cameras out for 12 years. Never a hit. put out vintage 35 millimeter mechanical cameras with fish line tripwire at 7 feet. Nothing for a year. Huh. Okay. That's interesting. I mean, well, like, what me and David talk about sometimes when we go out there, when we do investigations and stuff. I mean, we're always testing out new equipment. We're trying things out, but we want to have, we try to come up with ideas to see what might work and what, if anything, produces. Yeah, we hear of different vocalizations and stuff out there, but I mean, if there's an idea, if it's something within our ability, I'm sure, if we come up with it, and again, if we're able to do it, I'm sure we'll try it if it sounds like a good idea. But in the area we're camping and investigating now, we definitely plan on doing some stakeouts out in the woods. It depends on who all wants to participate. If we can set up in teams, I'm sure we're gonna have some people sitting back at base camp. But anyone else that wants to participate in that, if there's other couples or anyone that wants to team up with somebody, we won't be too far apart, but spread out enough in a certain general area and. See what we might really pick up and record. We'll have our thermals, our night vision, audio equipment, kind of do, that kind of thing. Because, I've never actually done an actual stakeout in the woods before. I mean, most of the time, most of the stuff I've ever done at night was maybe do a group hike at night or just basically stay around the base camp itself, and just listen. But yeah, I would like to get out more away from the camp area and get actually a little further into the woods, because everything we hear sounds like it's not that far off. So let's put ourselves out there where we're hearing everything, and see what might turn up, or if anything gets curious enough to come in closer.
We need at least 2-man teams to go out to be I think be perfect. At least 2-man teams or women. And the more teams we have out there, the more coverage. So the better success we might have on coming up with something, or at least something a little different. I wouldn't want anybody out there after dark, especially all hours of the night like that by themselves.
Yeah,
not because of bears or anything like that, but we do have the snakes and everything else that come out after night, pretty much when they're prowling around hunting for their prey and everything. But 2-man teams, that way everybody's comfortable and just stagger out. We'd have to scout it out to figure out, where we're going to put everybody and stuff like that. But I think it'd be interesting, be something different to do and try.
Oh, for sure. I think a good starting point, David, is at the gate where the parking lot is. At the gate, maybe go up on that little ridge line there. I think that general area right there might be a good starting point, considering that's where was it Paul? What's his name? Paul, his wife.
Paul and
yeah, Cheryl. Yeah, where she had said she seen what she saw there. Of course. Yeah. So yeah, Nikki, to give you a little background on that. During our back camp out, our last camp out back in October, there was we had our normal average group there, but it was like probably the last day. A lot of us were packing up and leaving. There was a couple that came down from Pennsylvania. They came down a little later, so they were still there for another night or two. However, the couple, they decided to go down towards the gate. They wanted to go walk and do a little hike down to where the lake is in the area. And I didn't learn about this till I think like later that day or the next day. But long story short, the couple came back and started talking to David and Melissa because apparently Paul's wife Cheryl thought she saw a bear. As soon as they were pulling into the little gravel parking lot by the gate that leads to the lake, she was looking over her shoulder. From what I recall, and the way she worded it, she was looking over her shoulder as her husband was parking. And over at the gate, she's looking at what she saw was a bear by the tree. And all of a sudden, she saw it run across the forest road into the woods on the other side. Quote, on 2 feet. And for the record, this woman has, she doesn't have much understanding or recollection of how wildlife operates, how they maneuver. So I guess, David, if you want to kind of collaborate on this, because you're the one that got to talking to them later that day.
Well, yeah, real quick. I just showed them where the gate was, where they need to park to walk about maybe 3/4 of a mile to the lake, which is a gravel road surrounded by the George Washington National Forest as you go to the lake. We just got finished packing up, me and Melissa, and they had come back from that walk, and we stopped by to say bye to them and stuff. And her husband, Paul, says, "Yeah, well, we just back here and we seen a bear when we was pulling up to the parking area." And she got to describing it. His wife did, and she was looking over her shoulder out through the cab of the vehicle or the truck they were driving in, and seen it by the tree. And as she was getting out of the cab of the vehicle, it took off running across the gravel road from her left to her right and went down into a ravine to where there's a stream bed. And her first impressions was it was a bear. Now she got nervous. She told her husband she just seen a bear run across the road. Well, he got what he needed to get for protection wise, but they went on and continued to make the hike. And when they come back, when we met up with them, when we was going to leave, they gave us that little bit of description. And I just happened to ask her, I says, when they ran across the road, was it on 4 legs or 2? She says 2. And then her husband looked up and said, you didn't tell me that part was running on 2 legs. And she said, yeah, just running on 2 legs. It probably covered the road about maybe 3 or 4 steps. Then I got to looking at her, and I said, you sure it was on 2 legs? She said, yeah. And but bears don't run on 2 legs. I mean, they can stand up, they can semi-hobble on 2 legs, but they can't run like a person on 2 legs. And when they do, it's only for a short distance. When they do, you run on 2 legs, because they don't have the stride, they don't have the hip structure to be able to have that gait that a human does. They go from side to side when they're walking. You see it on fairs and all that other stuff. They have bears for entertainment. And then she got this grim look on her face, and he got to asking her more questions, got a little bit more descriptive about what she had seen, to where you just seen she became flush, because now she can't believe what she thought she may have seen may not have been what she thought she had seen. And we can only go by what she was saying as far as that, but I could tell by her expression that she's now had it phased her is what it done. Now a little bit of background on them. I think she's either FBI or retired FBI, one of the two. But again, she said she wasn't well versed on wildlife and a lot of their behavior and stuff. But now her husband's into Bigfoot research and stuff like that. And I think he might be part of the FBI too, or retired. They both might be retired. I can't remember about that aspect. So
yeah, I know he's military. I know he's former military. Yeah, so former military, like you are.
And he's level-headed about stuff like that. I mean, he's not one to go running around looking at every bush and saying it's a Bigfoot or every shadow and stuff like that. I mean, he wants proof too. He wants to keep logic behind it, like we all do out there and stuff. Because if you don't have definitive proof, you have nothing. But if you think you find something, you got to work backwards. You come to a conclusion, was it or was it not? And a lot of times you may come up with, well, we still don't know. But she couldn't get over that. I mean, she really became flush after she had told us that story and said, well, I don't think it was a bear if it's running on 2 legs. And they went back that evening and see if they could find any tracks and stuff, because it wasn't that far from the gate, maybe 25, 30 yards from the gate where she'd seen across the road. And they looked down in the ravine, but they didn't find anything like that. But now that evening, they heard something. They've been there, I think it was their 2nd or 3rd night there after we had left.
Yeah, they had something by camp.
Yeah, by their camp where they had their trailer up on the ridgeline where Daniel had walked earlier, as far as that part. But they couldn't describe what it. I mean, it could be anything. We got deer, we got bear, we got a lot of stuff back there. But that made them a little uncomfortable that evening as far as what they were hearing, because they really couldn't say it sounded familiar. It was different, and that's all they could go by as far as that. But it's just amazing how some things come about out of the blue. We're all packed up and ready to go. We just spent a week out there, and it's all primitive out there. You don't have a lot of people. It's not like some of these other lakes and stuff where you have a lot of traffic in and out, people camping and whatnot. Very few people come back here to camp. It's not an open area where the general public can drive through. So it's pretty seclusive back there. You do have some people that come, but a lot of people come back there on horseback ride. But it's not like Elkhorn Lake to where it's open to the public. They got a big lake, and people go down there to swim and fish and all that other stuff. And there's a major difference between the two areas. So, I mean, that's why I like that area too. It's more seclusive. But that was an interesting story that they told us and stuff. And they're still talking about it today. But I wish we just had more information to go by more. But I mean, that's the way it happens. You know, things pop up, spur of the moment, and you just try to get, compile the information as it happens. And hopefully it leads to something. But again, that's the area that where Daniel's talking about, where the gate is. Have that as a ending point at the gate, and they're branch off into teams back in there, because there's two ridge lines actually. You got the one to the left, and then the one to the right. You got that little it's a pretty big stream bed that runs back there on the right hand side, and there's another ridge up there on that right hand side. So if we could saturate that area with at least 3 teams, one up on the ridge line there, one go further to the right across the stream bed up on the other ridge line, and then send another team down where the road crosses a stream bed that intersects with the road. And that's a pretty good area. And that's maybe, I don't know what, 10-minute walk, 15-minute walk from the gate, and set somebody up down in that area, have it like a triangle, 3-point triangle to saturate that area. I think it'd be pretty interesting to see what we can come up with that evening. Maybe do it a couple of nights, as far as that.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, for sure.
But we got to have the people. But yeah, I would like to have somebody back at base camp. I mean, if nothing else, just to watch the camp, because you do have some thieves that come back every now and then to try to raid places. But we get into communication aspect. I would get with Daniel more on that as far as setting up a relay from base camp, and then one up there by the gate. That way, because radio transmissions don't communicate through rock and ridge lines and stuff. That way, if somebody's further down the road, if they need to transmit, they could transmit to somebody up by the vehicles or the gate in that area, and then they got a clear link between there and base camp. That way, triangulation is what it is. That way, you got full coverage as far as being able to communicate with each other.
Yeah, because at that one point is where it gets kind of spotty.
That's because of the ridge lines, because of the rocks. We'll go out and test all that anyway if we're going to do it, because you need to go out and test it. You got to be prepared. Figure out the best spots to set up that triangulation for clear communications with everybody. Further out may not hear base camp. Base camp can't hear further out, but they can hear that middle person. They can relay information as need be. But we'll talk about all that later as far as that.
Oh, for sure.
I think we need to do that.
Yeah, David, you just made me think of something else too. One of the things we could do out there too, because when you approach to the lake area, you're coming up to the top of that little hill and you're overlooking. You got the lake there, and then off to your far right, it's a lot of open ground. Up, you got the whole. You're surrounded by all of the forest there, but there's a lot of open area up there by that lake. I think that would be a good area. One, to sit up right there, just kind of hang out and chill, relax, and with parabolic mics, with our thermals and all our good, gizmos and gadgets. I think that would be a good location where audio would be picked up. Like if anything's vocalizing in that surrounding general area, I think we'll be able to pick it up really good out there. Because got the whole open area and the lake's down below right there. We're overlooking the lake and everything. That might be another option we can consider doing too. Especially get in position. Who knows what might come around there when the sun goes down? Because we know people don't go back there at night. But if we're camping in the area, we could have the whole lake to ourselves back there.
Well, we'll have to check it out. It might be a good feeding area for deer too. And of course, if you got feeding area for deer and other wildlife, no telling what will come out of that area, because they know that's where they can go to do their hunting.
Right.
As far as that. So.
Yeah. The other thing too, with Cheryl's story and what she claimed to see, and after we got the understanding, okay, what she saw was on 2 feet. I feel that area was credible. Not the area, but her story. I feel like there's truth there, because given the history that I've learned from others in that area, or have been to that area or in the surrounding area. Because that general area out there's mountain lion sightings I've heard from multiple sources. I've been shown images from people that have found trackways out there in that area. And then not to mention bear hunters have seen what they described as hairy bipedal, beings, creatures peeking in and out behind trees, staring at them while they're out there in the woods. So, I mean, come on now, bear hunters, of all people, bear hunters are going to know a bear. I mean, that's the way I was. Yeah, they're not going to mistake a Bigfoot for a bear. I mean, if that was the case, they shouldn't be bear hunters, But so I mean, this kind of to me adds some. I feel like it adds credibility to what's happening and what's going on in this area because we both know it's not far from West Virginia. It's really not entirely far from West Virginia at all. And as you mentioned, it's fairly remote. So I mean,
well, then you got the people too. Like I'll tell Nikki too is when me and Melissa first, we've always been interested in the paranormal. We both have paranormal experiences growing up and stuff like that. We've always been interested in cryptids on the side and stuff. Then we met Daniel about 5 years ago and got linked up with him to give us the opportunity to go out and learn more about the cryptid aspect of Bigfoot and such. And when we put on Facebook that we got involved with this group to go out and do this, we knew we was going to get flack and feedback. I mean, that's fine. You're going to have your naysayers. I mean, I haven't seen one yet, but you're going to have those that are going to make fun of it. You're going to have those that take it serious. Well, when you put something like that on Facebook, you get your little comments down in the section, stuff like that, some, whatever. But when you get 2 private messages off of that post and they get with you privately so other people can't see it, I think that leads a lot of credence to it too. They couldn't say exactly what they saw, but they gave a description of what they saw that made them very uncomfortable. And again, they're country folk back here. They know bear. They know all the foxes and types of wildlife we have around here, coyotes and stuff like that. But for them to send you a private message so they don't put themselves out there, I think that leads a lot more credence to the possibility of something being around out there that people really are not open to talk about all that much. I mean, that's just another aspect of the way I look at it too. People want to get with you privately and they don't want to be out there in the open talking about it. I think it just gives a bit more credibility to what may be going on. So that's the way I look at it.
And yeah, absolutely. With that being said, one thing I would make mention, it seems like there's some Bigfoot activity kind of starting to flare up in Virginia itself. Within a week's time, I've had 2 separate reports recently. One individual has been trying to get in touch with me. They finally reached out to me and they sent me, it might as well be a book. What the email they sent me with the details and the information they sent me, I mean, you could probably write a book from this story, However, probably about a week before that was another story of a sighting. Now, I remind you, the location, it is down in Southwest Virginia, but it's in Virginia. But the locations are probably no more than a half hour to 45 minutes apart. On the north, again, it's Southwest Virginia. So there is other reports, like the one gentleman who I met, his fiance, she works at the bank that I go to. He's been reaching out to me more. He emails me when he's able to because he's doing classes and got a lot going on. He has agreed when the time comes. I told him, give me the time, give me the date, what would work for you. Because he will talk about what he's done, what he's seen over in the area that we've been working in. He named all these locations and it's right outside of where it's it. Well, more specifically, it's in between where my main research area is and almost by where we've been camping at, investigating recently. So it's kind of like along those lines. It's almost in between all that.
Yeah, it's all interconnected. So
exactly, and not to mention Dave, who came out and they came up and spent the day with us at camp. Him and his buddies were camping. Yeah, they heard that weird scream or that vocal that nobody understood what it was or recognized. So that there was over there at what's that area called again? Brandy, over in Brandywine.
Over around Brandywine area, yeah. West Virginia.
Right. So yeah, like I was talking about, this is kind of like, you got the Alaskan Triangle, the Bermuda Triangle. Well, I'm developing this cluster of a lot of activity that either what I've experienced and all the little notes and reports from other people, it's all happening within a certain perimeter here in Virginia. It seems like there's I don't know, maybe it's not quite a triangle, but it almost looks like if you look at each location and draw a line between it, it kind of does draw like almost a triangle. Like there's a pattern here. This area, there's something going on here. There's, so I don't know. That to me, that makes it interesting.
Two things that struck me from that when Dave came out. I came back from the house to get more firewood and stuff for us. He was there. I didn't know he was coming. I get the impression he took his time to come meet with Daniel to tell his story because something happened that made him uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And he left his group to be able to do that. But the people in his group, one, maybe two, but at least one of them was retired law enforcement. And whatever happened struck him in such a way that now he wants to try to find out what it is. Because, most people in law enforcement retired have level heads. They know about investigation, they know what to look for and how to rule things out. But whatever happened for Dave to take his time out to come meet with you, and then one of the guys that Dave was with is retired law enforcement. Now he's hooked into trying to figure out what was it that transpired that they can't explain.
Right.
And I find that interesting as far as that aspect. So that's two things that's that jumps out at me on that, to where it keeps the interest there, what's going on out there, and we're all looking for answers. And when stuff like this just keeps coming forward, it just makes you want to keep getting out there to research, to do your own investigations.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Real quick, to answer Harold Denton, this is Donald, for those who don't know, his name's Donald Denton. But Harold, to answer your question, the two most reported sightings that I got in Southwest Virginia, one was probably down around, what's the area? It begins with A. I used to deliver down there quite a bit with my old company. Man, I'll have to come back to you because I am having the hardest time today remembering locations. I know where it is, but yes, thank you, Josh. Thank you. Abingdon, yes. One of the reports were really just on the western part of Abingdon. Thank you. Abingdon, Virginia is where I used to go down to all the time to deliver. But yeah, for those who know Abingdon, Virginia, you guys know how rural and how wooded and country it is out there. One of the reports were right in that general area. The other location was probably a little bit south of Abingdon, a little bit further south of there, which is both of these locations are south of Tazewell, Virginia. And Tazewell, Virginia has had reported sightings and some other weird, strange activity over the years. There's an old report where supposedly a gentleman had shot and wounded a Bigfoot where it got drug off by another Bigfoot. And supposedly the MIB showed up at that location. I don't know. I haven't really looked into that story in a long time. But yeah, the whole Southwest Virginia has got some history and some weird crap that goes on down there. But as far as the two sightings, this is recently. This is within a week apart. And locations, if you look on a map of these two locations, I have all the information and the exact locations. But I don't have none of that with me. But I can recall that they were probably about between 30 to 45 minutes apart, as far as location-wise. So, yeah, Abingdon, Virginia, I will say that much. Abingdon, Virginia is the main general area where the one takes place. So, the other location, I'm starting to pinpoint the area. For those who know Route 50, I think is it Route 50? Yeah, it runs from North Carolina all the way down to across Virginia down to over towards the Abingdon, Virginia area. So that's another location. It's either 50 or 55. I'm probably getting that mixed up a little bit. But anyway, it's Southwest Virginia or near the Abingdon location. So absolutely. Yeah, Damascus. Yes, thank you. Damascus is that runs through there that connects over to Abington. That's right. Yes, Damascus. You guys are awesome. You guys know these areas and memorize things. Because thank you, Damascus. Yes, Damascus and Abington. Well, Damascus is a little slightly north of Abington, right off of 81. So good deal. Yeah, thank you guys for jumping in on that. You guys on the live chat rock. You guys kicked butt. So yeah. So yep. Yeah, Damascus. Actually, I thought that was north of Abington. I could have sworn it was north. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm getting things switched up because. Oh well, but they're all there close together. They're all in that little cluster. Good deal. Hey, let's switch gears for a second here. Nikki, just one thing I haven't talked to you about in a while, and I know you showed me pictures of this. Over in I think it was like a year, maybe 2 years ago. You did a camp out in was it Washington State? Was it?
Yeah, I went.
Yeah.
Had my first annual Sasquatch shindig there at St. Helens in Washington.
Oh yeah, Mount St. Helens. Yeah.
We camped out right there with Thomas Steenberg, Brent Dill, Jay Birch, Michael Gallagher, a couple other people showed up, and it was great. It was a great time. 5 days on the side of the mountain.
Nice.
And Winchell was the last night that got a little crazy when all the big guys had already left. Why does that? That's a whole thing right there. Why does stuff happen on the last night when all your cameras are full, all the batteries are dead, everybody's gone, all the trail cameras have been pulled down, no video was, nothing was recording, and that got kind of crazy.
Well, that's the way the cookie crumbles because, like you said, some of the people had already left and broke camp, and you're there with how many people were left. So the area that camp becomes less intimidating for those who might want to venture in to get curious to come on. Oh, you left.
I keep thinking.
I was gonna say curiosity. Yeah, when everything quiet down after all the activity and stuff, if anything's out there, they may want to come in and see.
We still had it was there, but I don't know. It seemed pretty dead for the first 4 days, and then that last night we were hearing grunts and motion, and then something walked up to my tent that night and chawed at me. And I don't know what animal does that without sniffing, scratching, making any other kind of noises. And of course, that's the first time that's ever happened to me. And you never know how you're going to react to something like that. Like, I'm pretty brave. I go out there in the dark and walk around and all this stuff. But when that unknown thing walked right to where my head was on my, from the other side of the tent and went like that, I froze. I dead froze. Couldn't move.
Wow.
It wasn't, the bear spray was gone because Brent had let me borrow. I had flown there. So everything I had borrowed from somebody. So when he left that day, he had taken his bear sprays with him. So I didn't have any protection. My initial thought is that we left the garbage out and then we had a big bear in the camp. But I don't know of a bear that gets into the garbage and doesn't make a mess, or doesn't eat the sugar cubes that were on the table or the cookies that were left out, or destroy the whole table because we left stuff out. The only thing that was licked clean were the foil packets that we had cooked meat in that night.
Interesting.
Wow. The bipedal walk up to my tent, and then the chaw, and then it stood back up and it walked back to the garbage.
Hmm.
And,
Yeah, when everyone else left, who was all there besides you that was left over? Was it just you and a couple others, or one?
4 of us still there. It was me and one tent. And the tent, it wasn't real tent. It was one of those ice houses where the bottom there's no bottom.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm also thinking something was going to reach its hand up underneath the camp.
Yeah.
I was frozen. And then right next to me was Jennifer Watkins. And then there were a little bit of trees, and beyond that was oh my God, I forgot his name. Another guy. And directly across from me was Jay Birch and his wife in their little mini trailer. They had one of those little mini, nothing but you walk in and there's a little bed type trailer.
Oh yeah, was it like a teardrop camper?
One of the older model little trailers.
Oh, like a little mini vintage camper. Yeah.
I knew where everybody was because his trailer door made squeaking noise when it opened. So I knew they were in there, and I knew Jen was right next to me because I could hear her. And his name almost came to me. Dakota had a sleep apnea machine out there. And so I knew where he was. And we didn't have our radios on. Everything was dead. We had been out there for 5 days already. All of our cells and our power sources were pretty much dead. And my phone was almost maxed out. I had 20 minutes left, it said, to record on there, or 15 or something. And after that, I did manage to try to get my phone, which was charging far from me, of course. And I recorded 3 videos of me in my tent, like Blair Witch Project, with the camera. The tent and thought at me. And so I have 3. I did not sleep that whole night. I listened to this thing walk around the camp. It went down to the creek. It came out. And finally, about 4 or 5 in the morning, everything got quiet. I fell asleep. The sun started to come up. Everybody started to get up. We came out. We all, the 3 of us in the tents had experiences that night. But the trailer, no, nothing from the trailer. And when we walked to where the creek was, you could see the whole area was wet, where something had come in and out of that water.
Oh, wow. And
I had 100% thought, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to find that garbage just strewn everywhere. And it wasn't. It was just a few foil packets out of there. And I'm like, there's an open box of sugar cubes sitting right there on the table, and cookies and a bunch of other crap, because we were so tired. Everybody just went to bed. We didn't even think about picking up nothing. We hadn't seen any animals all week. So we got complacent and we left that garbage sitting out there full. And I also remembered hearing the pretzel bag. There was a brand new bag of pretzels sitting in the back of Jay's truck bed. Okay, in the back of the bed. And I remember seeing them there because I thought, in the morning I'm going to grab those pretzels so I can take them with me and Jen back to a hotel, because we had a hotel, and then the next morning we were both flying out of Seattle. And I heard something poking at that bag. Matter of fact, I have that bag somewhere here. I saved it. It was unmistakably that bag. Somebody was messing with that bag, and it was all the way in the back of the cab, in the back of the bed of the truck.
Huh.
And but not opened, not messed with. There wasn't any fingerprints on it. It was just the bag that's sitting there, not crushed or messed with.
Yeah, because you think if it was a raccoon or even a bear, they would have shredded that thing or ripped it open and stuff. Because
I would have heard something. And if it was a bear that came up to my tent, where was the snorts? Where was the, where was that? There was none of that.
Right.
Something, we've all been camping and in a tent, and when somebody's on the other side of the tent, you can feel that or feel that darkness that comes towards the tent. That's what happened. I could feel that something had walked up and stopped, and it felt like an eternity. It was probably just a few seconds, but then it leaned down to where my head was on a cot. And right where my head was is when it and it just stayed there. And then it got back up, and then it went off to the thing, and I was petrified.
Now,
that was a long night, wasn't it? What time was that about at night? Do you remember about what time that was?
Yeah, I have all that documented. You can find all those videos on my channel, Sasquatch Secret. If you go to the video section, you'll find the night, what did I call it? I don't know if I did call it the Sasquatch Blair Night videos or something.
We'll look for it. That's fine.
All the times we time, because every time I was talking to the video, I was indicating what time it was. So I have a pretty good timeline of exactly when stuff was happening. And Jen, at one point, I heard something. There was a big tote, one of those black totes, the yellow tops on it, in the middle of in the middle of our two tents. It had extra sleeping bag in there. Well, Jen had got it out, and she had left the empty tote just in between our tent. Well, at some point, I thought I heard her moving her suitcase because it sounded like something dropped. And I thought, oh, what's she doing moving her suitcase right now? And she thought the same thing of me the next day when I said, did you move your suitcase last night? And she goes, no, but I thought you moved your suitcase. And that's when it dawned on us that we weren't hearing the suitcase. We were hearing that tote being dropped. And Dakota later said that something moved his tent, that something had shook his tent, and that he wasn't really there for Bigfoot. He was one of our cooks. So he was freaked out, and he zoned it out, and he put his CPAP on, and he was out. He didn't want anything to do with that mess, and I had heard some murmuring or something like that. So I never heard any mumbles or anything like that. Just I know something was going through the garbage. And the next day, yes, we saw some footprints.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up because you shared with me those footprints. If I recall and remember correctly from what I've seen, I would have to go back and look at that back at what you sent me. But my first initial thought when I first glanced at them, they got those are bears. But then I started looking at the full image. Then what I was paying attention to when I started focusing more, wait a minute, those don't look like bear tracks. Those look more humanoid. But
they look like they were small. They were maybe 9 inches, I think, 10, 9.
Which you normally think, that that would probably be about a 300-pound bear if it was a bear, but they did look very humanoid. But because when I first looked at them, I was thinking bear, but then I started questioning it. My mind, like, no, wait a minute.
Had very distinct on it.
Yeah.
And then I had one where it was a wet track, still wet from when it came out of the water.
Yeah.
I wonder if I have those right here. Hold on. Let me. Oh, wait. I can't do it that way because. Oh, maybe I can. Let me see how far down this goes. Oh, no, I don't have it there. How can I do this? Let me go to here. And those would be Shindig. Let me go here. Oh no. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you able to pull them up on here? The images?
Yeah, able to, but let me see if I can. I'm trying to find where I put them.
Because if you do a screen share of them on here, I don't know. Well, I don't know. Is there anything I can't remember? I haven't had to deal with it in a while. I mean,
it'll pop up down at the bottom, just like somebody's coming into your show, and then.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, it's not coming up. Hold on. I don't know why my pictures aren't coming up.
Hey, real quick, while Nikki's looking for that, David, I want to ask you real quick. The first initial gate out there by where we camp at, is that gate currently locked up right now? Till what is it? Up till April? They don't open that up till April, right?
I'm thinking until April 15th.
Okay.
I know it's April. I can't remember if it's April 1st or April 15th. I have to look at that email I got from the Park Service.
Okay. Yeah, I was trying to do some research. I was going on to the Forest Service area for that location, and I was looking up, trying to learn all the information I can about that area. As far as when the gates open, I couldn't find they don't specify location information on there on the Department of Game and Inland Fisheries. Nothing.
That's why I had to send them an email. I had to contact the main office to be able to get that information.
Yeah.
Now, the gate's only closed for vehicle traffic. It's open all year round if you want to walk, but that's a long walk.
Right. Like I told you, that's what happened the first year I ever camped there several years ago. That's what I had to do. I had to park up there at the overlook area and hike all my stuff down to the camp area where we were camping there, which I don't mind doing that. But the reason I'm asking, because I just want to make sure, because this weekend, I'm going to have some free time this coming weekend. I want to camp somewhere. It's supposed to be in the 50s during the day anyway. I'm considering trying out my car for the first time. Like I said, I've been considering doing some car camping. So I'm considering car camping. But then again, I might just throw up a tent. I might use one of my small tents. I got a very small tent I might throw out. But I want to go camping somewhere. If I have to, I'll go up around the Elkhorn area. But which is totally fine for me. But so yeah, I would camp. I considered camping if nobody was to mess with my stuff. Mess with my. I would park at the overlook area and just car camp right there. That's something I consider doing. And there's plenty of woods for me to walk in from there. But if I was to go into one area, but I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out where I want to go because my plan is as soon as I get off of work Friday is to head out. Because Caden's going to be. The plan is he's supposed to go to his other grandmother's house for the weekend. So yeah, so Friday when I leave work, I want to go somewhere because I get off right at 3. So I'm trying to figure out where I want to go. But then again, I got the Coal Road. The Coal Road, that's not far from me either. So I might go down. Maybe I might go down that area just for the heck of it. I haven't been down that area and camped in a while. So last time I camped there was when I was with Julie. We actually we used our hammock tents. So yeah. I don't know. I'll play it by ear. I'll be looking a little bit closer, so I'll figure something out by then. So yeah.
I don't know why it's loading. It's just empty. It's like a white. I probably have too much stuff open right now. It's not.
This is interesting. On the live chat, D Shizzle for Life says, I've had items completely disappear for hours, then reappear back where I left them out alone by myself. That's interesting. I can't say I've ever had that happen. Yeah.
Well, in the house we've had that happen, but not out in the woods.
As a paranormal,
Yeah.
it will happen.
Wow. Interesting. Harold Denton, stop talking about trucks. Focus on the podcast. I'm just joking.
Maybe stuck in my Google somewhere. Let me check my driver. Oh, I should have gone to photos instead. Oops.
Yeah, if I do decide to go down towards the Fox Running area, I might just do that. I might park at the gate there at the overlook area, and I might try to set something up there, and during the off season when that gate's closed. I mean, do you think people would ride down there, or
I
don't know.
Caution. I'd be cautious about it.
Caution, because a lot of people know that gate's closed back here. A lot of people ain't been going, and some people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like anywhere else. Areas like that probably more so because knowing that nobody's gonna be going back there, they may go back there for more nefarious reasons.
Right. That's my concern, because like if I go back there, I don't need a riffraff going up there and parking near me and doing their whatever they do, because they know they're private back there and nobody's going to see them do their whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I hate to say that, but yeah, I mean, when you go alone like that, I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, there's other areas. Yeah, there's other areas out there that I know of. Like I said, there's other areas in the surrounding area I know of that I've camped at before. Not in that particular area, but not far from there, I've camped at other locations where a buddy of mine in Singer's Glen took me out, where you basically, the one area you would have to drive all the way up this tall mountain, and then it drops way down into this little hollow area, and it is very, I mean, just being there alone is spooky enough. This one particular area that I'm thinking of off the top of my head, I've actually got chased out. Well, I shouldn't say chased out of there. I was more or less felt intimidated to jump out of there. It was a location where me and my buddy that I used to work with, he lives in Singer's Glen, and he took me to the area. Me and him camped there together one night, and we heard a grunt, and he was like, "Dude, that's a bear." And so we started banging our jugs and buckets and everything, making all kinds of noise. Never heard nothing again that night. Long story short, it was an interesting experience. I ended up going back out there like a week later, maybe a week or so later, to camp by myself. I wanted to know more about the area. I wanted to see what was out there, because this particular location was the area where he told me that he's camped there several times, but one of the times he had camped there, he had a young couple that were leaving out the area from where they were camping and saw his setup. They felt like they had to come by him and tell them why they were leaving. Well, apparently the young couple told them they heard this scream above them from where they were camping, that they had no idea what it was. But they also had these several large rocks thrown into their campsite. That scared them enough to get out of there. And so they shared that information with him. Well, he learned about where they were camping at, and so he investigated the area. He was curious what the heck was going on at their campsite. Well, he told me, he said he went up above where their campsite was, because he knew exactly where they were camping at. He went on the hill up behind them, and it brought him over to like the power line area where there was kind of like a clearing up there. But above from where they're camping, he saw a whole bunch of where there was a lot of rocks and stuff, and he noticed there were some that were missing. And he grabbed some that were similar to the size that were missing and attempted to throw them down towards where their campsite was. And, you know, he was back then, he was in his, I don't know, this was several years ago. He was in his early to mid 60s back then, but he threw the rocks best he can down to the campsite. He said rocks might have thrown, he said he might have made it halfway down there, if that. So whatever was throwing them down there had some strength to throw them all the way down into their campsite. So yeah, these young couple had some large rocks thrown from up the top of that ridge all the way down to the campsite and heard this scream. Well, after attempting throwing a rock or two down there, and he couldn't make, you know, like I said, his rock throws were making it maybe halfway. But while he was up there, he told me, he said, Daniel, he said, I heard this god-awful scream out in those woods up across from where I was investigating this people's campsite. Well, he said the way he described it, he said it sounded like a monkey or chimpanzee of some sort or whatever. He said it sounded he described it as sounding very primate-like, which I found very interesting. He said, I didn't know what it was, but that's the only way I know how to describe what I heard. It sounded like a monkey or chimpanzee screaming, you know? And I don't know, after hearing that and attempted to throw the rocks down towards that campsite and he couldn't make it that far, you know, he didn't know what to think, so he got out of there. And so he feels like there's something going on in that area. And to kind of give you a rundown of where this area is, if you're off of Route 259, instead of turning down, what's that route brings you down to, that will lead you to the Hogren Road? If you bypass that and continue ahead to west, if you go past that little store on the right, up a little ways, there's a split off. I don't know. I want to say it's called North River Road or some other road.
Little Dry River Road.
Yeah, I think that's it.
In Falks Run. That's in Falks Run.
Yeah, he says, yeah, if you drive down that way, which this is the area where me and him camped at. You drive all the way down there. You go past like some houses. There's some trailers down there. Then it runs all the way out there. When we get down to a certain point, if you keep straight, he said it'll lead you to the Little Germany River, it's called. But we split off to the left where you got to cross. There's a creek. The start leading and going up the mountain. There's a concrete pad where the creek runs through it. You got to drive through that, and then it slowly starts taking you up the mountain. And once you get to the top of the mountain, you come to the power line clearing, and you continue on, and it drops you back down into this hollow. That's where we were at. Because the first night, like I said, when he took me there, we camped there. We had this grunt real close to camp, you know, at nighttime. And which he declared, that was a bear. But the night I camped there, which I've shared this a few times, I camped there by myself, you know. And now he surnamed this area, he nicknamed this area Whispering Hollow, for the very fact that the power lines that run over top of the trees, at nighttime when the cool air settles down and comes down into the lower area,
right.
The power lines, you know, if you ever listen to power lines, they have like a snap, crackle, and pop kind of sound, and they make all kinds of weird noises. And sometimes when the cool air settles in and you hear the power lines, it sounds like whispering voices, which was, you know, I found interesting. And he told me, he said, that area becomes very eerie. And I kind of slightly experienced a little bit of that when I camped there with him, but it was a lot more intense when I was by myself because it was very dark. The fog settled in, and I'm sitting there at my campsite. You know, I have my tent, I have some lights set up, and I have my sidearm sitting next to me, and it's dead quiet. You're not hearing a sound at all. And the first thing I hear off to my left up behind me was this, what sounded like a very loud snap of a big tree limb. Like all you hear is crack. I was like, oh shit. There's probably a bear moving in on me. So what do? I react thinking it's a bear. I start making noise. I start banging stuff, making loud noise. And I think I even shouted once or twice, you know, while I was banging stuff. Then I put stuff down and I sat there. I was kind of like on alert and I wasn't hearing nothing. And probably about maybe within 5 minutes or so, directly behind my tent where I was camped at, it sounds like it was probably, I don't know. I'm guessing it wasn't far. But what I heard next was a loud crack of a tree or a limb. Very loud, but it sounded so close. It sounded like it was directly behind me. The first thing I do, I grab my spotlight and my sidearm, and I'm pointing in the direction. I'm pulling the trigger on the spotlight to try to see if I can see anything. And I mind you, my spotlight, apparently it wasn't charged up enough because as soon as I pull the trigger on the switch on the spotlight, it shuts right off. I was like, oh shit. I had nothing to project out in the light. But when it did turn on to work, you wasn't seeing much because it was fog. All you see when the light hit the back behind the woods, all you see was really dense, thick fog. And I was like, I try to pull the switch to the trigger on the spotlight again. It goes off. I said, oh crap. I said, I'm not seeing nothing. I don't know. All I know is whatever was making those cracks, and you're not hearing no wind or nothing. All you're hearing are these loud tree cracks. So I felt intimidated. I was like, I don't know what's out there. I can't see what's out there. Something's off. If there's something moving around, it's awful bold. It's getting awful close to me. And I threw my most valuables in my vehicle and left my tent and everything there. Again, threw my most valuables in my vehicle, jumped in there and took off, came back over the top of the mountain, got back into town where I got into phone service. And
how far away were you from the power line?
The power lines? Oh, they were right over above me. Yeah.
Aside from the tree cracking and stuff like that, power lines will play havoc on your psyche because of the amount of power that they're generating.
Right. Oh, I get that. But these were like clearly like very close sounds of something like a big tree being cracked in half.
That's what I said. Aside from that, I'm just saying everything else, the way you were feeling and discomfort, depending on the amount of power and how big the power lines were, plays havoc with your psyche as far as that, because your body can actually feel it, and then you're hearing the tree cracking just probably amplify that feeling within itself.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, I didn't know what to think of it. I mean, if it was a bear, it was awful bold. It wasn't shy. I mean, I made the noise from after the first crack of the tree I heard, and I didn't know what to think, especially hearing it right behind my tent the second time. Yeah, it put me on edge. I felt very vulnerable. I mean,
the cracking didn't sound natural. Like
no,
the tree just breaking old and stressed and all that other stuff.
No, because like I said, it was no wind, no sound. It was dead silent up to hearing those two cracks, and I didn't know what to think. Like I said, even though I had my sidearm, I had a 44, not a 44. I had my 45 with me that time, and which is a pretty good knockdown thing. But I just felt intimidated. I guess again, feeling vulnerable and not knowing what it really was. I just didn't want to stand or hang around to find out if it was something that I didn't want to deal with. So
anybody feel intimidated. Anybody.
Oh yeah, because I was by myself. Yeah, if I had somebody else with me, perhaps maybe it would have felt a little different. But because I was by myself during that time, yeah, I just didn't want to find out what it was, because it was. I didn't know if it was something causing that. I just didn't want to find out. Like could have been something that could have harmed me.
It's a lesson learned too, to make sure you get all your equipment charged up before you go to bed. Turn on.
Well, that's what gets me, because
power.
Yeah,
unless something drained your power.
That's another thing I thought about too, because I was like, I go out there with all my stuff charged. No, now you guys know me now. I keep extra power sources to keep charging my stuff up, but I was just out there for one night. Yeah. Because it's funny, when I left that area, the only thing that was left near there was my tent. I came back about 2 weeks later. Of course, my tent was untouched. Nothing messed with it. So I was able to pack up my tent, But yeah, because when I got back, that's an area. Yeah, I would love to take you guys out there.
Yeah, because I grew up in Fox Run. I grew up in Fox Run there.
Right.
And I would love to see. I have a feeling I know where you're talking about, but I would have to see it.
Yeah, it depends on how high the water. The one area you have to enter to come up the mountain, like I said, there's a concrete slab where you have to drop down and drive through the creek to come up back onto the road. Well, you guys see the car I drive right now. I don't know how that would handle through that a little bit. I mean, last time I remember,
we have a Toyota.
Oh yeah, and a Dodge. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, this time of year, I was to say, even back at Slate Lake with the weather we've had, I mean, the clearance you got on the bottom of your car. Just be careful going back there. You don't want to bottom out and get stuck. Because the cell phone service back here.
Yeah, reception's very.
Because I don't know
if
we ain't been back here since we camped. I don't know if that road might have been washed out due to the weather and stuff right now. But
yeah, I mean, I've driven in small cars before out on the forest roads before. Where I mean, like out there where we camped at in October. I think that road. I think my car would be okay, but again, I don't know. It's not a state maintained road, so I wouldn't.
I'm saying on pretense because the way that's laid out back here is it does wash out a lot. And if you notice when you were back there, you see that big mound of gravel on the side of the road, just off to the side of the road. They use that to repair the roads with a lot. That's why they keep so much back here.
Yeah.
That's what that's for. They try to keep it leveled out and graded as much as possible. So they do get a lot of washouts because of the lay of the land. So,
yeah, that's kind of up around Elkhorn Lake on the forest road areas that are not paved. They have, I mean, the worst case scenario when you get a lot of rain is you got a lot more potholes through the gravel roads and stuff. But but overall, yeah, I mean, because up around Elkhorn Lake, I mean. I've seen so many small little cars. People ride through those in their little Honda. Like I drive a Honda now. But I've seen so many people riding through there like it's like a racetrack. Which I was like, man, they're gonna mess up their cars, driving that fast. Yeah. But especially if they hit a pothole at the wrong angle. So, but yeah, interesting. So yeah, Nikki, you weren't able to find those images.
Yeah, they're down there at the bottom.
Oh, down here at the bottom. Oh, hold on. I'm not seeing no way to pull them up.
You just click on it.
Wait, where do I click on it? What do you mean? I don't see nothing showing up on my end.
You don't see them down at the bottom where my face is, and then next to.
No. All I see if I click on your name or your picture, it says I can do solo layout.
It's on its own. It's all by itself. Like as if.
Yeah, I got it. I got it right here.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. Full screen layout. Okay.
That was coming out of the creek. And yeah, I didn't have the tape measure with me. Like I said, we were getting ready to leave and everything was just a mess and that morning. So
yeah, it does look a little wet.
Where there shouldn't be no wet. It didn't rain, there wasn't anything. There was a weird skid mark, and then we thought maybe something peed there because it kind of trickled down back to that creek.
Right. That is interesting, though. That's weird.
And,
I mean, is that in person? That's what it looked like. Did it look like a stream of wetness, or like it looked like almost like something scraped the ground?
Yeah, it was like a scrape originally, and then wetness, and then it was crazy. Let me see if I can find it, because I know what I'm looking at. It's so horrible how pictures of footprints don't look as good as when you're
what you see in
there.
person. Oh, trust
Yeah.
me, I say that all the time because I see stuff that you can see clearly in person, but pictures of stuff like tracks never do justice. I get that. Yeah.
Corner where whatever it was walked up. This was the corner of that tent I was at, and yeah, you can't see what I see. Okay, so this is. Let me move to the next one. Okay, this one. If you look at the right side, you can see the toes.
Yep.
Right there.
They're very round. And where that big rock is, that is kind of like where the mid-tarsal break would be.
Oh, okay.
And then it goes a little further down. But that's my phone. My phone, somebody's phone. I don't know. Above it. So it was small. They were not big feet walking around barefoot out there.
So there's a possibility it may have been a young adolescent that was curious because they say a lot of the young ones are more mischievous and curious than anything else.
Now, Jen said she saw bigger footprints on the other side of the truck. I don't have those pictures, but so she was, we were thinking, well, maybe it was an adult looking out of, over a juvenile. Possibility, anyway.
Right.
Yeah, see, these just don't look, they're not great. It really hard there to find footprints because of the terrain and the substrate.
Right.
It's just really that was I think that was one of our feet. We were testing to see how hard we could make a print.
Right.
Now, was that a normal step, or did you try to put some weight on it to make it impressive?
Tried to put weight on for that one right there. Yeah.
Okay.
We stomped like a stomp,
Right.
That's it was. And there was little bits of wetness everywhere. We didn't know what that was.
Huh.
Far away from, because that was just right there next to the. Also, that night, I had heard we had all our chairs, in a circle because when you get together with everybody, you huddle around the campfire. So we had like all our chairs around there, and all the chairs were kind of bumped around and not in that circle form, looking. They were just all over, and I could hear something going in between them.
Huh.
I'm back. This was me talking.
Oh.
These are,
Oh.
let's see. Oh, because we had foil. There's the back of the truck. To the right back there in that truck was where those pretzels were. And he was preparing meats and stuff. That's Dakota right there. He's the chef. He's a barbecue guy. We ate really good while we were there. I mean, picanha and all kinds of great barbecued meats. And he was, using that whole foil method out there on his smoker. He took his smoker. And Thomas Steenberg. There's Mike and Jay Birch's wife, Monda. We did some interviewing.
Usual.
Let's see.
So there was a lake in the area where you guys were at?
Yeah. Down, yeah, a little ways, couple miles down, there was a lake. But it is beautiful for sure. Really beautiful out there.
You know, going back to that truck right quick, they had those pretzels in the bed of it. That's a normal size truck, right? It was like a full size Ram. Think of the reach you'd have to be able to reach over into the bed of the truck just to manipulate a bag of pretzels. That's a long reach.
Yep.
Yeah.
Even for a big man to be able to lean over to do that, he'd have to have long arms.
Right. Like even me, I'm 6 foot tall. You just like even like standing up against your truck, David. Yeah, you would have to kind of like reach down. Like, it is a good reach because the way pickup trucks set up or now, like yours, that would be a good reach.
Okay, you see where the oil bottle is, right? Well, to the right of that is like a mustard bottle or something down there by the end of the floor. That's
okay,
right. Yeah, right behind that is where that pretzel bag is.
Okay.
Lean it over. I ain't got that kind of long arms. Without crawling in the bed over getting a stick to pull it to me.
Yeah. All this stuff was pretty much not there. But all the stuff on this table that was right next
diet. So it's good for them.
What?
Yes.
What's that?
No, go ahead. Watch. On the way to have.
Well, that's making me hungry looking at that video.
Gracefully use those tail.
He made us meatloaf out there. That was like to die for.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
As best we can.
Wow.
Right. Trying to see if we can still have it. Okay, see that back there? Oops.
Now, was he the camp cook?
Diet. Meatloaf. Camping meatloaf.
Okay, see the table back there? How messy it was? How we had a bunch of crap on there? That stuff stayed out there all night. And it wasn't knocked over. It wasn't, nothing was touched. There was cookies.
I don't think it was a bear.
Open sugar cubes. Nothing. There's jam.
With bears being opportunistic, I don't think that was the bear back there. It had to be something else. Nothing was touched like that.
And Jen can tell you too. I think we both thought we were going to wake up to having a mess out there, and all that stuff was still there. It was just there, you know. Interesting thing is there was a game camera lying on the table in the far corner. Yeah. Down the game camera, and it was sitting there on the table.
Wow. Was it activated or just sitting there?
No, we had taken it down already. It was off.
Oh, okay.
It's just a weird thing that happened, and you can almost see the pretzels there now behind that bottle. It's a light blue. It's a very light blue package back there. Anyway, it was, interesting little trip for sure.
Oh yeah, but we'll definitely we got to get you out here to Virginia. I know you've been out here to Virginia with your aunt to come out to my event, but you need to come out camping with us one day.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's just hard when traveling, and having to borrow gear and everything and not having your own stuff. And
right. I get that. Yeah.
Because so last year I ended up having the shindig up in British Columbia. So I flew to Calgary, and Mike, who I just pointed out a little while ago, picked me up in Calgary, and we drove across the Canadian Rockies all the way to British Columbia to Sasquatch Provincial Park, where we stayed for 5 nights there. And
nice.
That was amazing. A lot of history. We went to the Chapman farm. We went to the famous oh my gosh, what's his name? I can't think of his name now.
Who was he?
Well, the boy, the Squatch boy. What was his name? Oh my God, help me out, Jen. I can't think anymore. I've been up since 3:30 this morning.
Oh my.
Yeah, I had the early shift today. So we did all that. It was a wonderful experience. I got taken around all over. And this coming July, I really want to get to Bluff Creek. Jacko, thank you.
Yeah, Jacko.
Yeah. Got to go to the railroad tracks right to where he was supposedly climbing the side of the wall there, the mountain. But all that is on my channel as well if you want to see all that has been documented. And I want to go to Bluff Creek. But I want to drive. It'll take me 3 days to drive there so I can have my gear with me. But we'll see if I can make that happen. I also want to go to Whitehall this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got a couple of things in the works, but I don't know if we'll have to see.
Right.
It's too soon to say if I can make it happen.
Well, for future reference, if you ever want to join one of our campouts, we hold them every spring and fall, usually around May and September. So,
great.
If you ever want to plan ahead, and it's like, okay, Daniel, I want to come to your spring or fall campout. What are the dates? Just let me know, and I'll throw them out there for you. So,
cool. That sounds
yeah,
cool.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it sounds pretty adventurous. You've been getting around, So
yeah, that was the whole point of me is trying to go to all these popular places. I want to go to the LBL one time. I almost had an opportunity to go to Florida, but it was just such late notice that I couldn't make that happen because I was saving all my money for Canada. So
right.
I just have to kind of pick and choose right now, where I want to do. So
now, correct me if I'm wrong. When you go off on these adventures, you go by yourself, right? Javier stays home, don't he?
Yeah, no, my hates camping.
Oh,
hates it.
He hates it. Didn't he ever do camping when he was in the Marines? He's a Marine. He should love the camp.
That's why he hates it. He goes, they made me camp for 26 years. I ain't never camping again. No.
That's a different type of camping, though.
Yes.
He might. That's what I'm saying. He might actually like doing what you do. Yeah.
I took him once, and that was enough because I had injured. And I had planned to go over to the Mogollon Rim and do camp out. And he took me to that because he knew my heart was in it. I was so ready to go. And he says, I'll take emergency leave. I'll take you out there. And so he did. He took some emergency leave. He took me out there and he could not wait to get out of there. He himself. Okay. He made friends with all my friends, but he still couldn't wait to leave.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's too bad.
Yeah, he's like, no. I looked at him. I go, you don't ever want to come to one of these again, right? And he goes, no. It was just that's not his cup of tea,
Yeah.
So I understand that. So it's okay. It's my gig, my gear. I go out camping up there in the mountains, and I do a lot of day trips, so I don't have to stay the night a lot by myself, just for safety reasons and stuff. But
right.
I have a couple good spots out there that I'm finally comfortable staying the night. And now I'm just waiting for the snow to melt because it's blocked in right now.
Yeah. Well, I know I'm assuming both you and your husband both have concealed carry permits and everything, considering the background.
He does, of course, but I don't.
Yeah.
He's trying to get me to do mine, but I don't have it.
Now, the reason I was asking or bringing that up, because I didn't know, because of your background and the military background, I don't know if you guys like have certain, like, I know some states, like here in Virginia, I have to pay attention to, like, if I travel, what states allow me to have it in their states and whatnot, you know. So I didn't know if you had one, and if you bring it with you out west, out there up northwest, like you go to, I don't know if they, like, I know the gun laws are completely different than they are here on the East Coast, you know.
You even have to be careful taking bear spray around, you know. I couldn't take anything from Canada, of course, nothing. So it was borrowing from people. And then here in Texas, we can open carry and we can have our, you know, license or whatever. But I don't hunt. I don't investigate here in Texas. I investigate in New Mexico. So I travel to New Mexico a couple hours. I'm right on the border. I'm literally right a mile from New Mexico, a mile from Mexico, on the little squiggly lines. That's where I live. Yeah, so I go up to New Mexico and you can't have guns there. So, and then I kind of border the Indian reservation. So that's another reason I can't have a weapon there. Cuz I get caught there.
I was going to say, I'm assuming you're not far from Oklahoma as well, are you?
Yeah, no, I am far from Oklahoma.
Oh, you are? Okay. I'm just trying to picture the because the reason I was bringing that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Shane Carpenter and who is it? Shane Carpenter and Brian Hulan. I hope I ain't getting two names mixed up. I know they've done a lot of investigations and campouts of their own in Oklahoma, and they've had a lot of activity there in the past. You know, from what I recall. So
all of East Texas is squatchy, all the way up into Oklahoma and Arkansas. You know, area that's all squatchy, but that's 2 days drive for me. Remember, Texas is really big.
It is. Yeah, you're right. It is. And I've never been down there, but you know, I can imagine. So
yeah, it takes one day to drive to San Antonio.
Yeah, being on talking about the eastern part of Texas, I know there's a lot of Bigfoot research along that area too, especially in the southeastern parts of Texas. Back from when I used to, you know, I associate with Baltimore, and there's others that actually do research and stuff down there that have Bigfoot reports from those areas. So, yeah, you are.
The Big Thicket area.
Okay.
It's called National Preserve or something, and then you've got that whole Houston area down there. Can't remember the name of it now.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Is it one of the rivers down there, or somewhere near a water source? I know Baltimore had pointed it out, and I've seen it on documentaries. But isn't there supposedly some of the riverbeds down there that have old dinosaur tracks fossilized into the riverbeds or creek beds down there?
Yep. Sure do.
Yeah, I always thought that was pretty interesting. Yeah. So I don't know. There's theories or thoughts where some people believe that there's something still roaming around down there. Do you believe that could be possible, or is that just, I don't know?
For there to be what, dinosaur or Bigfoot,
or anything large? Yeah, I mean, I guess Bigfoot, but I've heard rumors in the past where people think that there could be some kind of remaining large, I don't know, living dinosaur fossil today. I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't.
No.
Think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think so anymore. No. I think we've already discovered that. You know, they do say that a chupacabra is all in that area too, but everything points to that where they're just seeing mangy, coy dogs and coyotes and wolves and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, you ever watch documentaries about? I watch a lot about Alaska, the Alaska Triangle. Bigfoot reports, and of course, there was one documentary I watched which I found very interesting, where the scientists and stuff, they measure movement off of their sonars and stuff, or whatever they call it, but something is causing these. I don't know. I don't know the right way to put it, but there's rumors that maybe there's a possibility that there's something large enough as a mammoth that may still remain up there, because they have found woolly mammoth tucks up there years ago. I don't know if that's any possibility of. I mean, I would figure. I mean, I know Alaska has a lot of wilderness that probably people have never stepped foot on yet, but you think a mammoth, something as large as what a mammoth would be, I'm sure somebody would have something like that, but
And I don't think that's a possibility anymore either. I do know that they are going to create mammoths right now. They are creating mammoths. They have the DNA sequenced, and they're going to make a baby.
Oh yeah, I mean that's right. They have found full intact remains of small ones.
Yeah, they have the whole sequence for that.
Wow, that would be interesting.
I think there's that. Now, we always say that up there in Alaska, Canada, that the Sasquatch are probably a lot larger in those areas because it's colder. It's a colder area, harsher climate. They're probably bigger. They're, more hair, longer, bigger coats. Just like Florida, they have winter coats because it's hotter.
Well, yeah. Well, that, and you would think that there should be, assuming that there should be plenty of food source for them to strive and live healthy up there.
Yeah, bigger animals to hunt.
Right. Look at the moose, the elk, the bears are massive up there. I mean, yeah. I mean, they don't sell small calibers for nothing. I mean, large caliber rifles and shotguns up there in Alaska for nothing.
Right.
So, here's something I want to bring up. When you mentioned you're talking about possibly going to investigate LBL, Land Between the Lakes. On the YouTube chat, the hunter mentioned this is coming from him, but he said there's no evidence from Land Between the Lakes. He believes or thinks that it's all made up. What's your take on that?
I think it's a possibility they are there. I haven't studied the witness statements for that area, so I don't know where all the witnesses are seeing this thing. I don't know, but as before I go into an area, then you start really investigating and seeing what's going on and stuff like that and getting the actual sightings. The claim is that the LBL area is too well populated. It has far too many people in that area recreation wise for there to be able to sustain a Bigfoot in that area. That's pretty much the claim. But sightings happen. Sightings happen all over the place. Not all of them going to be hoaxed or made up. So you just have to check it out. Maybe you're in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, I agree. That's anywhere.
Right.
I mean, it's like, in my main research area, I can tell you, I mean, I've had my experiences there. But to find evidence, period, what we would consider evidence, personally, I mean, it's a hit or miss. I mean, I've gone into these years numerous times and not find nothing. I mean, I found things that could be possibilities, but never anything to me that would be definitive or like, hey, I can say this is what this is or what I believe this to truly be. But, it depends on the time of day, time of year. I mean, if tracks are I used to find tracks all the time. Things just really slowed down for me. I have, I'm always looking. If there's tracks to be found, I feel like I'm gonna find them because I feel like I'm very observant when it comes to tracks. But
That's Jennifer Watkins, who was just in the chat a little while ago. She's like Hawkeye, man. She puts things in the track that I just walk over. Like
right.
I see that, dude. I was just there, but I'm truly to the point in this journey of mine where I don't think we're gonna go out and find them. I think they'll find us. I think
I agree.
all we do is we need to go out there and make ourselves available, put ourselves in situations where they might run into us. And that's how it's gonna happen, because I just don't think we're gonna find them. We need to draw them into wherever we are, to our campsites or whatever we have going on. Make things interesting for them to draw them in. Brent Dill has his little light experiment where, he goes out and he puts up a string of lights out in the darkness, and we just sit out there and wait, and see if something comes to investigate it.
Now, I had tried that back in 2013. 2013. Around the 2013 time, I recall this one area. To bring up his name, Mr. Fred Canny. Me and him camped in this one area where we got whooped at one night, real close to camp. Well, this very same area, huh? Go ahead.
Was it 30 feet tall?
Now, we didn't see what whooped at us, but we heard it very clear as day. He was sitting next to me. Yeah, we had two small little dome tents, and we had the fire going. It was probably about 10 o'clock or so at night. And we're sitting there. His Jeep, he had his old Jeep that he used to have, his old whatever, I forget, his old big old military Jeep, and he had a trailer hooked up to it. Now, I recall he had his parabolic mic sitting on top of the Jeep. So I was like, okay, he's got a set where it's recording and picking up anything that we might hear. Well, out of nowhere, we got whoop, whoop. I mean, like 3 or 4 times, maybe 5 times from what I recall. And it was like, whoa, I'm standing up. I was like, Fred, are you hearing this? He said, yeah, I hear it. It's like, it sounds like it's happening on the other side of his Jeep. And after we heard that, I was like, oh man, like I was excited because I was like, we have that recorded. Long story short, no, his device was never set on record. It wasn't doing nothing. It was just sitting on his Jeep being dead. I was like, are you shitting me? But that was back in 2013. Long story short, I've camped in the same location multiple times. Now, I've camped in with just me and my daughter, where we're sitting here at camp, and there was one time I actually have it on video. If we listen to it, it was one where Brianna was sitting in her chair up against the tent, and I'm recording the video at nighttime, and I'm talking, and even in the middle of my talk, you can hear this knock, like right there behind our camp, and it stops me in my tracks. I was like, that was a knock. And Brianna heard it too. And after playing back the video, it's like, oh, cool, I captured it. It was loud enough to where it got picked up on the recording. And I had a cheap. Back in 2013, I had a cheap junky phone, but it still picked up the audio. Mm-hmm. And so I thought that was interesting because. I don't know. I feel like there's something that passes through or goes through this area because Dave and Melissa, this spot that I'm talking about, this is up by Elkhorn Lake. This is the very next spot. Remember the first time we all camped out? Well, not the first spot. The one spot we camped out real close to the river. If you go across that bridge, that next camp spot immediately on your right-hand side is basically across from that one camp spot where we were at. That's where all this was taking place. But so yeah, and it's basically behind the other, the other camp spot where we had the first big group camp out. If you go through the woods, it's actually right there in that cluster right there. It's way behind the campsite, so I don't know. There's been definitely some movement and some activity in that location, and but that whole general area. Now, keep in mind, I tell people, which I need to get a new one put together. My other one's lost or gone, but I had a full map system of the whole location, and I used to document every time I would have an experience or hear something, whatever it might be. I always documented it on my geographical map. But so yeah, that area, there was definitely something there, regardless of what we know about Fred Canning. And yeah, I've camped with him several times. I've been out in the woods with him several times, so I know what I've experienced when I was out there. So but there's definitely something that goes on out there, and like I said, we've been out there. We may not hear nothing or experience nothing, but like Nikki stated earlier, it's about being in the right place at the right time. You can't guarantee activity or anything anytime. It's just we hope for it. We can only hope for it, but so. But yeah,
going back to the LBL right quick for Nikki. There's a lot of history there to research if you ever do make that trip. Way back in the day, people used to live back there, early 1900s, somewhere thereabouts. The government came in and moved everybody out because the government built bunkers and stuff back there, doing whatever the government did back there way back in the early days. But anyway, 7 April 1982, look this story up when you get a chance to see what you make of it. A family was found murdered in an RV on the LBL. And investigation went on for years, and one of the children's bodies was actually found up in a tree. Research that, look it up, make your own conclusions of what you might think about it, but it's something interesting since we're all into this anyway, coming up with answers and going out looking for things. I don't think they ever really find out who did it or how or what. People speculate. Right. Dogman. I know you heard of Dogman. I don't think there's wild cats in that part of Kentucky. I was raised in Kentucky. I've never known any. This is Southern Kentucky, LBL, but I've never heard of any mountain lion or anything like that would do that. I mean, they could certainly drag a child up in a tree. But I think it might have been a family of 4, I believe. Some was found inside the RV that was murdered and bodies torn apart. And then one of the children was actually found up in a tree. So, I mean, I'm just throwing that out there. If you go down there to want to do your own research and investigation, see what that's about down there, there's a lot of history at the LBL. A lot.
Mm. Interesting.
It's freaky.
Yeah, very.
I'm just curious because I have this comment posted up on the screen. The hunter, he said, "I'm out in the woods a lot and didn't hear all this stuff. Love to know the area you're in so I can go and check it out myself." But the hunter, if you're listening, just curious to know where you're located. Where are you from? Are you willing to share your full identity? You are safe with us. Share away. So, Melissa, did you get your permanent tattoo from radiation yet? William Nighthawk's asking.
Not yet. I go on March 3rd, where they're going to do the CT simulation, and that's where I'll get the tatting done. And then about a week later is when I'm supposed to start my actual radiation treatments.
Okay.
So.
Gotcha. Nikki's, if you have any questions, Nikki might know some questions for you. She's a nurse.
She'll keep you here to midnight. She's always on the internet researching and stuff. She's driving me crazy. She gets all worked up. She finds 1,000 different things.
I'm PDA. I work with dietary.
Oh, okay. Oh, Lord. Well, Nikki, provide some dietary food with me. I'm a diabetic. Help me eat healthier.
You ate McDonald's today?
I know, right? Hey, I enjoyed that quarter cheese and French fries and Dr. Pepper. Oh my. Oh, so yeah. I gotta get. That's another one. Nikki, have you ever met William Nighthawk before or spoke with him before?
I don't believe so.
Oh yeah, you would love him. He's also Native American, and he is full of information and knowledge. To have you on with him,
I just wrote his Nighthawk Strangest podcast channel thing down so I could go look it up later.
He's a walking he's a walking dictionary.
Yeah, he has a lot of information. It's like his mind. You bring up a subject, he'll tell you anything you want to know about it. It's like he knows. He's full of knowledge and wisdom. He knows a lot of history of Native American. Again, he's Native American himself. On Facebook, you can find him on Facebook. He goes by, his name's William Nighthawk on Facebook. So, yeah. He's a very incredible guy. He lives local to us, and hopefully he's up to it. William, if you're listening, I've said this before. Even if you can spend a day out there, when we do our group camp out in May, it'll be a lot better conditions and warmer weather. If you can come out, you and Stacy come out, you spend the day with us. We would love to have you. So you guys, that you guys, we really want you guys out there. It would be great to have you guys there, and come around, sit around the fire, shoot the shit, and David will bring the donuts and
no, Daniel, dagnabbit.
I need to give Nikki don't know the background of the story behind the donuts. David and Melissa, they're retired, but they work at Krispy Kreme, for exercise, side money. But I joke with David because, I went in there one day and I caught him wearing an apron. So, he has his manhood at stake. So and at the last camp out, I presented him with a new apron. It's a Bigfoot holding a donut. So,
that is the truth.
So maybe he'll wear it at the next camp out. I don't know.
There
it is.
There we go.
Pretty cool.
Hey, Melissa, hold it up one more time. There we go. That's the apron I got for David. David's donuts.
David's donuts. Look at that.
Yeah.
Did you have that made special?
What's that?
Did you have that made special?
I designed it. I presented the image up on. I ordered it through Amazon. Yeah. Yeah. William said, "I will need a ride to camp out. My legs are not pretty enough to hitchhike." Well, what about Stacy? Tracy. Doesn't Tracy can drive you out there, can't she? But so if you're able to get out there, we'll find a way to get you out there, William. So, yeah.
Lordy.
Man. Hey, Sandra Piper. I know that name.
Yeah. She's in Florida. She follows me everywhere I go, and I love her.
Well, I'm offended because she used to follow me. No, I'm just joking because I haven't done a live video in a long time, so that's why some names I recognize names, and I just haven't seen YouTube names in a while, so it's all good. Yeah. Oh man. So, yeah. I know. I keep thinking. May is not that far away, and I'm excited for us to get back out there. But like I said, this weekend, I'm I'm looking at the weekend. I'm looking at the weather, and I'm itching to get back out there. I don't care if it's for just overnight or whatever, but I'm watching the weather and the temperatures. Like I said, I'm determined to go out there this weekend. As soon as I get off of work Friday, head out, camp out somewhere. Just to be out there. You never know. Like I said, I haven't pinpointed a location where I was going to go. I may go out in my main research area and just camp out, for the weekend to see how it plays out. The one thing I could, I have to look at is, oh shoot, I lost my train of thought. I don't know. Like I said, I got to play it by ear. I'm watching the temperature. Temperatures is supposed to be whole coming week is supposed to be between the 50s to mid 50s. So, but I'll figure it out because I've been, looking for every opportunity to get up and go camp again. Like I said, I don't care if it's for a week or weekend, whatever it is, but so. William Nighthawk said, "I can't bring Stacy, my wife." She said, "My wife." Oh, well, I meant Tracy, not Stacy. He said, "I can't bring Stacy. My wife will divorce." What she don't know won't hurt her. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say Tracy. I mean Stacy. I meant Tracy. Yeah. So we won't say nothing, William. Oh Lord. Yeah, it's funny if they come out there together. I'll say, "Hey, Stacy." I mean Tracy. She was like, "Who's Stacy?" Oh Lord. I am bad with names. Yeah, I am bad with names. You got to forgive me. I am bad with names. So, oh Lord. Tell you what, we've been on here for over 2 hours, and we've had a good steady group of followers on here, listeners. So that's awesome. If you're new to this YouTube channel, I do encourage you to send us, at least a subscribe, because what I do, for those who don't know, I am the host of ECBR Bigfoot Radio, which the online radio is all strictly audio, and people miss me doing the live podcast. So now we're doing the live podcast where I will upload all this to the radio platform. And I am working on continuing to do this as live video podcast. And I appreciate those who are tuning in. This is great. And in the near future, if you don't know what's been going on, I'll touch base on a couple things real quick. We are filming a Bigfoot series starting in May. It will be called Bigfoot Explorers. So we encourage you to follow and subscribe to the YouTube channel. So yeah, well, we're looking forward to that. And to answer a quick question, is David bringing Melinda?
William. It's not Melinda. It's Belinda.
Yeah, she's the girl from Dunkin' Donuts, not Krispy Kreme.
I need some whiskey right now.
my
Hold
gosh.
on,
Thank you, Sandra. Sandra said I have an awesome laugh. Awesome. Well, I'm glad I can bring some joy to some people with my laugh. I always thought I had a goofy sounding laugh, but I laugh the way I laugh anyway, so it's whatever. Thank you. My company does a lot of work in Virginia. Oh, what kind of work do you do? I'm curious. Oh, yeah, I'd love to hear about what kind of work does your company do? Because you know what? My company does a lot of work in Virginia because I work here in Virginia. So, good deal. The company I work for right now, they have branches and location and warehouse and factories in so many different countries. I can't keep up with it. I've just recently learned about some of their locations. I was like, holy crap. Oh, custom woodwork. Okay. Yeah. William Nighthawk said, "I love you guys. I love laughing is the best medicine." So good deal. What? Was that SpongeBob? Oh my gosh. Was that you, Nikki? Nikki always has some silly stuff.
I wanted him or
Woody Woodpecker. I love it. Oh man. Hey, we got Woody Woodpecker showing up on our front porch every morning, along with the Blue Jays, because Woody Woodpecker is one of the thieving birds that love to eat the cat food out on the front porch. Yeah. Yeah. Lordy, lordy, lordy. If it ain't the skunks and the raccoons stealing the cat food, it's the birds in the morning. So yeah.
Still the possum. And
Oh
then
yeah,
we out the birds away.
Yeah, no, well, we do get a possum, a big giant possum that will come around every once in a while. But most of the time, it's the raccoons or the skunks late at night that come around. We have a lot of skunks that come around, but they're slowly starting to diminish in their quantities because Dad sets up a trap in the backyard. We hate the skunks around here. One, they stink up the area. Two, they are hogs when it comes to the cat food. So Dad will trap the skunks and yeah, all the good stuff, you know.
But it's mating season right now for the skunks. They need all the protein they can get with that cat food.
Well, yeah. Well, with that being said, with the temperatures warming up, I'm starting to see, because the temperatures are warming up enough for them to come out and about now. So they're more. I've seen them on the sides of the road because they're being hit left and right. So because when the temperatures become a certain, when they get warmer like they are starting to get now, yeah, they're on the move more and more now. So, but, yeah. So, okay. So, tell you what, we're coming to an end. As much as I want to keep going, guys, I want to ask Nikki if there's anything that she wants to throw out there for the listeners. Anything that she wants to throw out there that she wants the listeners to know. So,
well,
Nikki,
if you guys are interested in secrets, come on over to Sasquatch Secrets. I do a live show most Sundays around 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Now we talk about anything from research to investigations to gear to just guessing what Bigfoot does. We have a good time, have a good chat going, and I deal more with the scientific end of the journey, trying to push the ball forward, and a lot of controversial stuff. We talk a lot about hoaxes and who's perpetrating them. But yeah, we have a good time. So come on over to Sasquatch Secrets on Sunday afternoons, 5 p.m. Mountain.
Nice. I'm going to respond to the question that popped up here. YouTube user D Shizzle for Life is asking when I am coming back to Pennsylvania again. I'm actually going to be there the first week in June. The Forest County Bigfoot Festival happening June 6th and 7th in Marionville, Pennsylvania. I will be one of the guest speakers for that event. However, they got me scheduled to speak on Sunday, which I ain't crazy about that because I have my reasons because, the main day of the event, most of everybody's going to be there on Saturday, but they got me scheduled on Sunday. So yes, come out Sunday, June 6th, 7th, and 8th. So I'll be there on the 8th speaking in Marionville, Pennsylvania. However, I'm scheduled to speak at 12 noon on June 8th. And one of the things I am currently planning right now, They got me booked for a hotel for the first 2 nights, and then Sunday, after I'm done speaking, there is a location where I will be camping out for at least 2 nights. At least 2 nights. It's about 40 minutes from Marionville, Pennsylvania. So it's in a primitive location. I mapped out the location, and it's about about a mile from a cool waterfall that I learned about. So yeah, I'll be doing some camping up there the first week of June. Again, the Forest County Bigfoot Festival, June 6th, 7th, and 8th in Marionville, Pennsylvania. I'm speaking on the 8th. Also, in the month of August, will be returning back to Pennsylvania. I'll be participating and speaking at one of the Fayette County Bigfoot Research Group events at the at Patsy Hillman Park, which is located in Hiller, PA. So I'll be speaking there. So yeah, I'll be in Fayette County, Pennsylvania, Marionville, Pennsylvania. As of right now, those are the only 2 times I'll be in Pennsylvania. That could change. It all depends. But yeah, look for me in Marionville, Pennsylvania. Again, I'll be speaking on the 8th. And again, in August, the dates I don't have at the top. I think it's August 12th. I don't have the dates in front of me right off the top of my head. But if you want to make the trip down to Virginia, I'm going to tell you, happening June 20th and 21st in Wares Cave, Virginia, is the annual ECBO Virginia Bigfoot Conference. We have several guest speakers. We have all kinds of vendors, Bigfoot themed, and all kinds in between. Also happening at our event right here in Virginia is the Medieval Renaissance group will be doing demos and battles. So, yeah, absolutely. Oh crap! I'm glad I got my camera turned off because I just dropped my phone off the tripod. Yeah. So, but yeah. So, if you want more information on my events and appearance, follow me on Facebook. I'm Daniel Benoit. And you can look up, I'll try to update some information on my website. My website is ecbrofounder.com. If you want information regarding the ECBRO Virginia Bigfoot Conference, go to www.ecbro, excuse me, I'm saying it wrong, www.vabigfootcon.com. That's for the event in Virginia. So, and G Shizzle for Life is saying you should check out the Mikar State Forest. And that state forest is very interesting that you mentioned that because the couple that came down from Pennsylvania last year, Paul, is actually, that's the main area that he researches. So I've heard some interesting things about that location. Perhaps I will have to check that out in the near future. But I'll have more time to play around after, probably towards the end of May. I'll have more of a schedule. I'll have some paid time off. I'll have about 2 weeks of paid time off towards the end of May. So I can make a little bit more flexibility on my schedule by then. So, but right now, I have to watch things for the time being. So absolutely. If you want any other information, send me an email. ecbro98@gmail.com. Again, that's ecbro98@gmail.com. And again, I'm going to repeat myself. If you're new to this YouTube channel, please feel free to subscribe because we plan on going to live at least once a week, maybe twice a week, like we did this week. So, David and Melissa, do you guys have any other information you want to share out there?
No, I think I'm good right now.
We're good.
Good talk with Nikki tonight and stuff.
It was.
Seeing what she's about and what she's experienced a little bit. And I've seen a couple of your other podcasts in the past that I found very interesting and stuff. And we try to spread ourselves out to watch several different podcasts, between working schedules and stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot out there.
Yeah, a lot. But we try to limit. Now I try to stay with the ones that's more on my mindset, logical, realistic, looking for the truth. I can't get out there with all the outlandish stuff because that's not helping the cause when you do that.
Right. I agree.
Awesome.
Daniel,
and,
for having.
Oh, absolutely. Nikki, thank you for coming on. I mean, we definitely have to have you on again, as long as you don't mind our craziness. So,
No, it was fun. It was fun.
For sure. So.
We could always have a good show. We could always do that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'll try to give you guys enough time in advance, because like I said, Nikki, I know you cover a lot of topics and stuff on your podcast, and so I love what you do. Because there's been, we've been on podcasts together in the past, and we've covered all kinds of different topics left and right. We come back to certain topics, and some things need to be brought back up, as and reshared. Yeah,
stacks of shows that I've done. I haven't even filed this stuff away yet, and but yeah, I've really taken the show, to a different level than when I first started. But it still is Bigfoot, so it's hard to come up with new topics and trying to turn things around and think of things in different ways. So, matter of fact, that was my show from last Sunday, was brainstorming Bigfoot. We were thinking about, what people wanted to hear from future shows, and I got a lot of good suggestions, and we'll see what I come up with tomorrow.
Very awesome. And D Shizzle for life. I'll check your email shortly. I seen the notification pop up on my screen. They sent me an email. So, yeah, thank you for tuning in tonight, D Shizzle for life. I'll be glad to talk with you and learn more about you as well. But yeah, there's so much going on coming up in the following months. We got our Bigfoot Campout group investigation in May, where our filming for our Bigfoot Explorers series right here on YouTube will be. I'll be uploading all the video footage on there. I'm excited for that. Like I said, the speaking engagements that I'm involved with, I'm looking forward to meeting all kinds of people. Over the years, I've met so many other like-minded people. I've gained new fans and followers through that, doing such a thing. I could only be in so many places at once. So, I know a lot of people want me to investigate in their state. It's not always easy. In time, I'll eventually get to some of these locations. Our main focus is right here in our home state of Virginia, because there's a lot to focus on right here alone. And we want to share that information with the public over time, because we know what's here. There's a lot of strangeness, and I know for a fact, I will tell you, Bigfoot does exist here in Virginia. Not just from our own experiences, but you can't dismiss all the reports and stories and sightings that we hear and learn about here in Virginia alone, because they continue to grow, and more people start to come forward as they have over the years. So yeah, guys, thank you again, and until next time, keep it squatchy, everybody, and make sure, if you haven't not done so, we encourage you to subscribe to the YouTube channel. So, thank you guys again.